Amidst COVID-19, several conflicts have ensued between security personnel and other citizens, responding to the guideline principles set by WHO and government of Sierra Leone. Many assumptions have been made to survey the problem of making sure that citizens follow the guideline principles with no conflict between them and security personnel. Engaging stakeholders like civil society and security personnel on conflict-sensitive response to COVID-19 is timely important. The Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Network of Sierra Leone WashNet has partnered with CODID through the support from EU Civil Society Platform on Peace and Security to develop key advocacy components in the project titled Enhancing Community-Based Strategies, the Spread and Effect of COVID-19, focusing on advancing a clear vision, strategic priorities, and policy and practice recommendations for deepening citizens' voices, strengthening awareness of the current health emergency, and spotlighting critical conflict sensitivities that are already adversely affecting earlier strides around national cohesion. Security personnel and relevant stakeholder groups have been engaged during this workshop to identify delivering conflict sensitivity professional service as they enforce compliance in the COVID-19 response. Key in this intervention is to increase understanding and capacity of security personnel directly responding to the pandemic in a manner that assures peace and trust. Musa Ansumana Soko is the Chief Executive Officer WashNet.
The workshop on conflict-sensitive security response. Now, one way to look at issues of sustaining peace in emergencies like this. Already society very stressed. Already society very much perplexed with the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's very much important to make we able to respond to the emergency in a way how that will be able to foster peace as well as national cohesion. So we see and say it's very much important for able to engage security sector institutions. To a very large extent, we sometimes can even forget them as frontline responders, because they're on a daily basis the interface with we, the ordinary citizens, and the state, as well as the virus who we declare for pet. So it's very much important for make we able to look at that level of conflict sensitivity in a way how that's been able to restore trust and confidence of the people in their response system. We get what we call the Peacebuilding and Statebuilding goals in the New Deal, or the Civil Society Platform for Peacebuilding and Statebuilding. Part of the Peacebuilding and Statebuilding goals, we get two areas that we're very much tied together, very important. We have security and justice. And security and justice very much paramount. Just as you know, SDG 16, they look at, peaceful, inclusive, and strong societies. So, if we're not able to get, trust and confidence in we own response system, then it will be very difficult for the citizens to able to also ensure that level of compliance, as we defeat the virus. So, we work now today, basically, now for able to look at holistically what are some of the key holding back factors, and what is the whole way back from progressive as security sector institutions, as civil society, as we also provide the interface, between policy and practice. So we look at key areas that we don't make significant inroads, like areas that we don't make some successes, and how we be able to also build on some of those successes today. Areas that we not go too well. What are some of the holding back factors and the challenges, and how we can use some of them challenges today for informed policy and planning at the central level. Like we work as civil society that for able to make sure say we use their evidence-based issues there for informed policy and practice at the national level, so that we able to also improve the condition of service. We get few slides that we do, where that actually constitutes me overview. And part of the slide now for just able for wet on the appetite a little with respect to the fragility assessment we Sierra Leone do. So that way we are able to put into context how this relates to the essence of this workshop.
District Health Medical Team is very important in this response. Amadou Kamara is the District Health Social Coordinator too, Bombali DHMT. He explains the importance of this training.
I think in this point of the fight, this training is very key and is really timely. And now we've seen that government, through the Ministry of Health and Sanitation and other partners, they've come along with the enhanced regulation for COVID-19, which are also very important in this phase of the response. So I think training like this, which includes security personnel, CSOs, and other important actors, across the northern region, I think this will be helpful to see how best we can work, how best we can coordinate the DHMT and security forces in enforcing, some of these laws. So I think this is a very huge one to all of us. Going further, when doing community engagement, radio engagement, to see how best we can popularize some of these enhanced regulations, to see how best they can be enforced, and to have a very high compliance from community people. I think it is good. I've learned that it's good. The security, the civil society, local authority, to be part, of that engagement, to see that the message, we really go across, because having a mixture of the forces, which they are responsible for, like enforcing, this whole lot of regulations, and we are there popularizing this information, giving them like the fines and other. So I think from this training, I think I've learned like to work together with security personnel and other CSOs, in passing information so that people will have a very high compliance.
Compliance is key in the goal set to be achieved. Major Aiko Omar is the coordinator of operations and sanitation room, Dikovac, Bombali.
This training they help big one because people really they will not be know the essence of this thing, and people not be get clear idea as to how them for come to one for fight corona fight. But since we don't camp on this training, we don't see people and don't begin comply. People don't come with some questions where they don't clarify the questions and don't now aware say this and this now in for do for come to one and fight for succeed drive the corona out. In my own capacity, the way I help, I think I did not start because me now the deputy to the district coordinator now as the operation lead, and I don't do boku thing for help fight this fight. I just want to send a message out again as a social mobilizer, a media man, and whatsoever, for let the message reach out and tell people, say, please, let we adhere to the instructions the way they give. More especially the master sabi people are waiting and tell me for do. Things if we do we go able to succeed drive corona out. That is to say, we use face mask, we wash we answer regularly, we maintain social distancing. I think if we do all these things, we go able to succeed and drive corona out.
In an interview, Musa and Sumana Soko asked this to say.
We felt there is this need to be able to raise their level of capacity, provide them with the required tools, as well as charting some of the holding back factors that have also held their work back from progressively reaching that goal. So bringing together civil society as well, as conduit between the people and the state, have also been a significant part of this level of engagement to be able to strike the balance between the two. We look at key drivers of conflict, and these drivers of conflict are also part of the things we are looking at, when we are also scanning for early warning. When early warning systems are in place and well activated to be able to ensure that we avoid conflicting response drives, we also look at several other issues. And this is one of the many ways we are also critically scanning the sector to be able to look at how that informs our work, and how that informs the way government makes decisions and the way they also respond to that. Even as security sector personnel go out to be able to enforce the bylaws or the measures, but people themselves must be able to get aware of the key provisions in the bylaws, because there is no way you can enforce compliance for people the fact are not aware of the provisions within it and the penalties that goes with it. So going beyond this, we feel there is this urgent need to continue cascading the effect of the engagement to be able to ensure that we don't get comfortable even when the caseloads are also reducing to some level, but to be able to ensure that we continue reactivating engagement to it. Having trust in the response system is equally as important as medical response. So we must be able to ensure that we foster trust as well as confidence of citizens in their own responders. That way we get compliance to be ensured, that way we get citizens to own the process, and that way we can also be able to create that wholesomely functioning society that is also thriving for a common goal, ending COVID-19.
The whole process was interactive indeed, as Fodesise, being the key facilitator, facilitated it well.
Building more stronger synergies and collaborations with stakeholders in the fight against Corona. Now we avoid politics. In a recommendation that one day. Now we avoid politics in the Corona fight. Otherwise, we will not succeed. Okay? Any other?
Yes, sir. So one thing we I really don't recommend to media too. Now for a partner with civil society for conduct some training for the one they already deployed na the forefront of the fight. So that because not only this regulation will not use so this bylaw, there is a regulation where government pull when through parliament it come up, when June 2016 it come up. That regulation there, it gets a host of things away law enforcement they look for if people break the law. Where they can arrest you for, they can jail you for 3 months, for 6 months, or you pay fine. So now the man when they go implement that, if he don't know that today, now the wrong thing he go enforce na the thing. And it suffer the people. But then if you meet up back somebody who know the act, he go challenge you. He go bring a host of standoff between the law enforcer and you will come in conflict with the law.
So on and so on it ended.